Welcome to Hope is Here. My name is Greg Horn. We are celebrating moms this week as Mother's Day will be this Sunday. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, to make sure you take care of that special mom. And yet, I know for some moms, for some people listening, their moms are no longer with them here on this earth, and so it can kind of be a bittersweet day. And we were talking with Traci Hutcherson, who is the mother of 5 children. She has 4 boys and 1 precious daughter. We talked some yesterday about what her precious mom, Wanda Long, who went to be with the Lord in September of 2009 at the young age of 64, but what a legacy she left. And I want to encourage you, if you didn't get to listen to yesterday or even our conversation on Monday, go to our website, hopeishere.today, and you can listen to those. They're only 14 minutes long. I really think you would be blessed by that. Just some really wonderful things that Traci's mom did. A story yesterday that we told had both of us in tears. But Traci, we talked about your mom, and we could have done 5 programs on it, but I want to talk today about what you've learned as a mom. You've got 4 boys. You adopted a daughter. Just share with us some of the things that God's been teaching you. How old is Jonathan, your oldest? How old is he now?
Jonathan is 18. Yes.
Okay. And what's the ages of your other children?
Luke is 16. Okay. Adam is 14. Eli is 10. Getting ready to turn 11, okay. And Sania is 10, getting ready to turn 11. So Sania and Eli, Sania is our daughter we adopted. She actually is 2 days older than Eli, and both of their birthdays fall on Mother's Day weekend this year.
Really?
Yeah. So Eli's birthday is on Mother's Day. Sania's is 2 days early. So I'm going to have a very special Mother's Day weekend this year.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah. That's great. Talk to us some of the things that you've learned during. Wow, what a wide range of being a mom, different ages, and all the boys, and then a precious daughter adopted. So, and there's a plethora of information, so I just want to listen, but to talk to us, share with us.
So, yeah, it's been quite a journey. We, John, like I said, raising 4 boys has been pretty fun and pretty interesting. They are full of energy, and my husband and I have had a blast raising them. They are all completely different. I've realized as a mom that you can't raise all your kids the same. They're all different, all unique personalities. There's some things you can do the same, and then some things you have to kind of do a little different, because they all have different temperaments and things like that. So I've learned a lot with that. And then Sania, adopting her, that's been a whole nother thing that we've added that has... our whole family has had to learn from that process. She comes from a different background and has grown up in foster homes and orphanages in Latvia, and has some special needs, and has definitely been like a huge blessing. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Adoption is not always easy. So sometimes it's easy to look on social media and stuff and be like, oh, people got to adopt a little kid and everything. It's not always easy, but the blessings far outweigh the hardships, and it's one of those things that I hope my sons have learned of just a lot. I hope it's given them a heart for adoption and just loving, because we've all as a family have had to make sacrifices, but it's a beautiful thing, and I think it's taught my kids a lot. It's taught me a lot, and Sania is just this. She's come so far, and she's just an amazing little girl. So it's been a fun process.
Well, and I would assume y'all grew up 3 boys, 1 girl. So you have 4 boys, and you bring a daughter into the house. It's kind of changed the dynamics a little bit.
It does. It does and it doesn't. One of the jokes, everybody's like, oh, now you have a little girl to dress and put bows in. Well, Sania's a little bit tough. I said, you don't really wear bows and dresses in orphanages, or you'll get you'll get picked on by the other girls. You got to be tough. So she came home very tough, wanting to be more boyish than girlish, because you got to be tough to survive over there. And so it's been fun watching her embrace bows and pink and all that, because that was sissy to her when she first came over here.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun to watch, and it is a totally different dynamic. She is a little more dramatic than the boys, because girls usually are. I say she gets that from me, because that is something that we have some things in common. Even though I didn't birth her, I say, oh my goodness, she's loud and dramatic like her mama. And yeah, so she keeps us on our toes. Definitely, it's fun.
Well, you've got 5 precious children, a wonderful husband and Cy. You've got this awesome blog, beneathmyheart.net. Share a little bit, I know it's a juggling act, but how do you balance having a successful career and trying to be a loving mom and wife?
I get that question a lot, actually, from people online. They're like, how do you do it all? Because online it may look like I do it all, and it's not. I barely hang on day by day. There are days that I knock it out of the park, and there's days that I am struggling to get out of bed. So I take it a day at a time. I will say family is always first. It's, when I have to choose between, staying up late and working on a blog post or snuggling with one of my kiddos, snuggling always wins, So family first, definitely. Quality time, trying to spend quality time with each of my kids and my husband, and then just trying to be intentional with the time that I spend on my blog. I guess that's probably the one thing I've struggled with working from home, is just setting boundaries, because my job and my, everything's at home. And so I get easily distracted from my job being home, because there's always laundry to do and dishes to do. So I've actually created a little home office, and I actually have a lock on the door, like an actual coded lock, and the kids don't know the code, Greg.
I love it. I love it. My mom wish she could have that.
I implemented it. My husband and I are the only ones that know the keypad entry, but I actually put an exterior door lock on my office door, and the kids know that when that door's locked, you don't come in Mama's office. She's working. So you got to learn how to set boundaries. It's been a learning process. I have not figured it out, but I hope I'm getting better at it.
Sure. Well, I think the key you hit on, it's a learning process.
It is a learning process.
You never arrive, do you? I mean,
nope.
Just when you think you've got it figured out with all the different personalities of your kids and needs and wants. And I mean, each day's probably a little different, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, it's so different. And perfection is just not a reality, and I think in our society, being online, and that's what I do for a living, it's kind of not bittersweet. I'm not thinking of the right word, but it's like, I don't want to portray perfection although it's out there so much in social media, and it's so easy to compare and be like, oh, look at that lady, she just had a baby and she's in a bikini, seriously.
Right.
Like, I can tell you the people that I follow that I'm like, how in the world? I mean, it's kind of like the Princess Kate thing that just came out, her just having her baby, and you're like, how did she do that? It's not reality. So I do try to be authentic and real on my blog, and I do try to share the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows, even when I do have it together and don't have it together, because I just don't want people, and especially young moms, to think that perfection is attainable. It's really not.
It may look like your house is perfect off the blog, but there's maybe some stuff in another room that people can't see or whatever.
It's right behind the camera. I kick it out of the way. It's right behind me before I take the picture.
Well, and I think people need to see that, because sometimes, like you said, everybody puts their best life on Instagram and Facebook, but it's just not reality.
It's not reality. And I think people that look at social media accounts, you have to realize that it's not. It's like, I always think of, on our wedding day, you want to look your best on your wedding day, because you're going to have those pictures for the rest of your life. Well, when you look at magazines and things on social media, they're putting their best on there. It's not reality. It's their best, because we all like looking at pretty pictures. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to keep in mind, it doesn't always look like that every single day. I can stage my house to look immaculate, but 95% of the time, it looks like a train wreck.
So that takes the pressure off some of you.
Keep that in mind.
Follow Traci on her beneathmyheart.net blog. All right, let's talk. I know faith is a huge part of your life, and a great compliment you got. I ran into a person the other day that knew you, and they I didn't know they did. It was just kind of a coincidence. And they said, she has such a pure heart. I knew her in high school. She was older than I was, but still. And yet you've had, carried that on. Obviously, your mom planted that. But now with all that you have going on, what do you do to, stay in your relationship with Jesus?
So just like everything in life, it's just a growing thing. Like we said, our relationship with the Lord, it changes and ebb and flow. There's been times in my life where I've been so close to Jesus, and times in my life where I have not. So
And you're still here.
And
Lightning didn't come or flash or hit anything. Jesus still loves you.
Wow. He still loves me. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, is to realize that he still loves me. So, but I think that what I do try to do is just be faithful in trying to spend time with the Lord. So morning works best for me before the kids get up. So I do set my alarm early. The Lord doesn't hate me if I hit snooze.
Still loves you.
He still loves me. But I do try to be intentional about getting up in the morning before the kids, because I realize if I don't have that time with the Lord just to settle me, that I'm not my best self. You know, I've got to have him in the forefront of my mind to face the challenges that I have that day, whether it be kids complaining over the lunch I fixed, or we can't find the shoes and it's time to go to school, or all those things that just moms deal with every single day.
So that happens at your house too, huh?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
I've had an interesting week already this week, Greg. But yeah, so I try to spend time in the Lord. I try to find a little devotional book or just read some scripture. And then I do like journaling. And one of the ways that I just kind of keep track of my heart is just simply journaling, like just when I say journaling, just writing out my praises, just taking a few minutes to just be like, thank you, Jesus, for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for this. And then praying for others. And then praying for myself and things that we've going on. Of course, in there, forgiveness, asking God to forgive me. So
sure. Oh, yeah.
Definitely need to kind of clear the junk out of our hearts sometimes before we can make room for the good stuff. So asking God for his forgiveness, and then just praying for others and praying for things in our own family and my kids and that kind of thing. And then I'll tell you one thing that sets my heart right during the day that may sound silly is just listening to Christian music. And I actually have a Pandora station of old hymns, instrumental hymns. So those of you that were raised in my generation and were raised on hymns, I love contemporary praise music and listen to that. And I actually love going to churches that have contemporary music. It's my jam. I love it. But when I hear the old rugged cross and it is well with my soul and amazing grace and
how great thou art.
I do instrumental, and just because when I'm praying and stuff, if I hear the words, I get caught on the words. But man, that just settles my soul. It honestly settles my soul. When I feel myself getting stressed in the afternoon or at night, and I just feel an uneasiness from the worries of the day, I will turn that station on and just let that music from my childhood that meant so much to me, where I learned and grew and knew about Jesus. It brings back so many beautiful memories. I can hear my mom singing them sometimes. I listen to those hymns and it just brings a peace to my heart. So for anyone who maybe just feels like even the Bible, is so complicated and they don't understand some, yes, you can spend time in God's word, but he can also minister to us through his music, and just settle our souls. So that's something I love to do.
Well, I'm with you. Music's a real great form of worship for me, and I know, obviously, music is worship. Yeah, it is, but there's lots of ways. I mean, some people love to be out in nature, and that's a way.
Absolutely.
But I'm with you, and I love the instrumental, and I'm like you. I love contemporary, but man, there's nothing like a good old school hymn every now and then.
Yeah, and sometimes there's so much noise that sometimes the instrumental is just a little less noisy for me. I just need a little less noise.
Yes.
So the instrumental just does something for settling my soul. I don't know if that dates me or makes me seem really old, but
you're not, sister.
I think
you haven't hit 50 yet. You're still young.
Yeah. Well, my son Jonathan's 18. He actually does that too. He's got that from me, and he's got that same station, and he will do it as well. But you could also just do instrumental contemporary praise, and it could be, for a younger person that's used to more contemporary praise right now. I'm just saying the instrumental just has a really sweet way of settling my soul. That's all I can explain it.
All right, good stuff. Well, that's going to be a wrap for today's Hope is Here, but tune in tomorrow. Obviously sometimes you have 5 children, you're going to wind up having, some challenging things happen, and I know a lot of you love The Voice, and her son Jonathan was in season 10, but just a miracle that he got to that point. So I hope you'll tune in tomorrow as we talk about a real journey of faith with Traci Hutchison on Hope is Here.
CMI is your full-service human resources provider in Central Kentucky. For 15 years, CMI Human Resources has taken great pride in helping organizations and people work. Whether it's employee handbooks or help in filling a position, no job is too large or too small for CMI. Contact the professionals today at CMI Human Resources, 859-296-2800, or online at cmiconsulting.com.